Hey guys and gals, Effie here. I figured it was probably about time to do a February update since we're a little more than halfway through the month. I did another update on January 17th because it was my birthday, so I figure, okay, we'll do it on the 17th and eventually I'll adjust and start doing them kind of near the first of the month. But I actually recorded this yesterday and I got some new equipment. I got a new camera, I got a new microphone, which you're probably not used to seeing, but I haven't figured out how to record with it yet without having it like right in my face. So it's supposed to be a good mic. We'll see if I can figure it out. All of this electronic equipment is a little bit beyond me, and so I get a little confused and I'm still learning. There's a very steep learning curve when it comes to audio equipment. Other things that I've done this month, I started a TikTok and realized how absolutely terrible I am at it. I'm way out of my depth there. I'm not a social media aficionado, if you will. The most social media activity I probably have is on Twitter. So when it comes to things like Instagram, which I also made, and TikTok, which is for younger people, I get a little confused. I'm not really sure where to find the buttons, and it makes me feel really old, but I am determined to figure it out. So originally I started with sort of paring down, editing down the existing book reviews that I'd done, because there's a book audience on TikTok, there's a book audience on Instagram. And I thought, oh, I can just take these reviews that I've done and just edit them down. And no, I can't. They're terrible. They're so bad. So I've gone ahead and re-recorded some like intentionally short, some 30-second shorts, right? So TikTok's max time is like 3 minutes or something, but if I do it in 30 seconds, I think I can put it on Instagram as well. So as far as my own book is going, I'm at about 45,000 words now, which anybody who's done any significant amount of writing knows how absolutely huge that is. That's a lot of words on the page. So if you're a fantasy writer, obviously you trend towards 100,000 and above, but for what I'm writing, which is a historical fiction with folklore elements, I think I'm probably going to cap out somewhere between 50 and 60, and then I know that that's going to expand in editing, right? Like there's going to be things that I haven't noticed that need to be explained or described a little better. Because I've never done any of this novel writing stuff before, I don't know what I'm missing. So I have a feeling an editor is going to come through and be like, oh, you need to talk about that a little more. You need to explain this in a little more detail. You need to go into that a little more. I'm seeing a jump here. We need to kind of flesh that out a little bit. So I have a feeling it's going to expand somewhat, but I plan on being finished with it. The story I want to tell should be done in about another 2 to 3 chapters, which means I'm really close to the end, and that's really exciting for me. So once that's done, I will go through several rounds of editing it myself, and then it's going to go off to an editor, and they're going to go through a round or two of editing, and then that goes to a different editor, and they're going to do. So it's a multi-stage editing process, right? It winds up getting edited by like 3 or 4 different people, specifically to catch mistakes. Each person reads a little differently, right? So it's not just different types of editing, right? Like it's not just copy editing versus proofreading versus, it's not that. I am going to send it to multiple types of content editors, multiple passes of content editors, specifically because I want it to be as clean and polished as possible. This is my very first novel. I've never done anything like this before. I want it to be as perfect as I can make it, considering my lack of experience. So I know that I have shortcomings because I haven't done this before. So I'm going to try to pick up some of my own slack, if you will, by hiring many editors. So we'll see how that goes. At some point, I will start the querying process. So once I have paid for a few editors, and I know that this is not the way that it's normally done. I know that normally you send your rough draft manuscript after you've edited it yourself, you send it to a literary agent, and I know that that's normally how it's done. But like I said, I don't know what I'm doing, and I want it to be as clean as possible. I would rather pay somebody a little bit of money, to help get it cleaned up and get it polished as perfectly as I can before I start sending it out to people and saying, this is how I write, right? So yeah, that's the plan. I am going to try to get it traditionally published. I understand that because it's my debut novel, because I am a new writer, because nobody knows who I am, because my platform is teeny tiny, I have you guys, but most of you are here because I produce gaming content, so So I'm not really a writer per se, other than the fact that I'm writing this book, right? So that's the plan. Um, is to send it out on query, to send it to literary agents. And then for those of you who aren't familiar with the publishing industry, you send it to a bunch of literary agents. If one of them likes it and decides they want to rep your book, they become your agent. And then that agent is your go-between for the actual publishers. So your agent is sort of your champion, and they are the one that takes your book and presents it to the publishers and tries to like sell you to the publishers, market your book to the publishers, and get you a publishing deal. Now, the other option is self-publishing, and there's nothing wrong with self-publishing. There's a lot of self-published authors that do a really great job. The problem is there is a really steep learning curve with self-publishing, right? So I am already on this like full downhill slope, learning how to write a novel and learning how to tell stories correctly. You know, there is a way to tell a story in a way that is easily digestible by the reader, and I'm having to learn that as I go, right? So I'm having to learn how to write, I'm having to learn how to edit, I'm having to learn how to navigate all of these new media platforms that I'm completely unfamiliar with. I'm having to learn how to use new technology, you know, cameras and microphones that I'm not familiar with, and it's a lot. It's just a lot. And then trying to add on top of that, learning an entire industry, learning how an industry works, I'm not the kind of person who halfway does things, right? So if I'm going to self-publish a book, I am going to spend the time to learn how publishing works. I'm going to spend the time to learn how to do it correctly so that when I do, you know, release my novel, that people actually read it. That's the point, right? So I don't see any reason to go through all this work and then just throw it out there and pray. Like, that's not going to work. That's not going to happen. So I'm not into half-assing things, and I'm not into hope. Not that I'm not hopeful, of course I am, but I'm also a very harsh realist, and I understand that just throwing a book out there on the internet where there's a million other books published every month, the likelihood I'm going to get any traction is very low. So I'm going to try the self-publishing route. If that doesn't work, I am probably going to set this book aside and write another one. I have a series in mind for my next book/books, and I'll probably write that. And I'm doing that because I understand that the more books you write, the more experience you get. The more books you write, in theory, the better your writing gets, because you have the knowledge on where your pitfalls were. So I am already identifying some things in this book while I'm writing it that I struggle with. And I think that writing additional books in the future is going to help me sort of work out some of those kinks. So that's the plan. I'm going to try to traditionally publish this book. And if that doesn't work, I will probably write the series and then come back to it and see what needs to be changed and what needs to be fixed, and then look at maybe self-publishing it. So I know that seems like a weird roundabout way to go about things, but I'm doing it so that when I do release the books, even if it takes me a little longer, even if it's more towards the end of the year instead of, you know, in the summer, which if I went full tilt on this, it'd be ready by the summer, if I was self-publishing. And I want the books that I put out to be the very best that they can possibly be. I want them to be as clean and polished as they can be. I want them to tell the best story that I am capable of telling. And I don't think I can do that if it's the first time I've ever taken a crack at it. So that's the theory anyway. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to over the past month. And yeah, my book is plugging right along. I am getting right to work on it. It's moving faster than I expected, and at the same time feels like it's taking forever. I don't know how to explain it, but it's one of those things that's like, oh, I can't believe I've gotten this far, and God, I wish this was finished, you know? I wish I could just finish it already. So I'm excited to write the end. That's probably going to be my favorite part. I feel like there's some stuff in the middle that I've included because I thought it needed it, not necessarily because I was excited about it. So I have a feeling it's going to come off as a little dry. which means all of that is going to have a massive overhaul in the editing process, but that's fine. It's just part of writing. So yeah, that's where I'm at, and I guess I'll get to recording a few more reviews, and check me out over on TikTok and Instagram. Feel free to join the Discord if you want to hang out and play video games with us sometimes. And other than that, yeah, thanks for watching. Have an excellent day, and I'll see you next time.